Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So today we're going to talk about what everybody's talking about. How pastors from around the nation were contacted by the federal government, and members of the government and the science world briefed them on the existence of aliens and encouraged them to prepare their congregations for the upcoming disclosure. Don't. What does this mean for the future of the church? And we'll talk about this disclosure. We'll talk about the effects it might have on the church in general, on people's faith, and the concept that they may be introducing a new religion where we worship the aliens. Don't. Okay. Before we get started, though, I want to thank all of you who support the channel with your kind financial gifts. I have been out of pocket lately. There's some major changes happening in my life. I was kind of forced into making some changes, and hang on till the end of the video, and I'll tell you what that means for the future of the channel, what I've been up to in my absence, and what to expect moving forward. But please don't forget to support the channel. It's your kind financial gifts that keep this channel on the air. I've lost a lot of my support over the last few months, and it's forcing me to make some changes, but I'm in more need now than I've ever been for your kind support. So you'll find links in the description below to my Cash App, my PayPal, and my post office box, where you can become a supporter of the channel, help keep the lights on here in the cabin, keep me and my dogs fed, and keep these videos coming your way. Okay, so Perry Stone, who is a very well-known kind of prophetic-oriented preacher, talks about the end times a lot. And something you may not know about Perry Stone is that he and I come from the same root, that he and I are both children of the Church of God denomination. And I believe he attended Lee College, which is the Church of God Bible College, and the same college system that I was given a scholarship to when I was a teenager, a free ride when I graduated high school. And but I passed on it to become a musician and didn't go there. But you know, the Church of God has produced a lot of great musicians. Another Lee College alumni, other than Perry Stone, is the lead singer for Creed. But he was kicked out of that college for smoking weed and admitting to it. Not for smoking weed, but for admitting to it. So Perry Stone came out and said that he was told by a trustworthy source that the United States government had reached out to a group of pastors, evangelical pastors, charismatic pastors, to prepare them for this coming disclosure, to tell them that aliens are real, to specifically label them as not from another planet, but interdimensional beings. And we're going to talk about what effect that could have on the church. And if this story sounds familiar, then you'll know there was a story going around like this a few years back, where the Pope was contacted by high-level agencies and briefed and told to prepare the Catholic Church for disclosure. And this caused the Catholic Church to make several public statements. The previous Pope, made several public statements talking about how this doesn't affect the faith, that all this does is make God even bigger. He's even bigger than we thought. Of course, we're not the only creations in the universe, and that there are other worlds, and that means that God is the God of them as well, and Jesus is their Savior as well, and they need the church as well as everyone else. In fact, they presented it like an opening of a mission field, a new group of individuals that now we can convert to Christianity. These alien creatures from another planet, or as they are saying now, another dimension. And a lot of talk about interdimensional beings is going around, and there's a lot of references to high places. You know, Jesus said in Matthew 24, that that as it were in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So he drew a correlation between the world before the flood and that the preceding his second coming, his return to the earth, that and the final judgment, that the earth would be once again in the same position it was during the days of Noah. And we know from Genesis 6 and also from more details found in the apocryphal book of Enoch that there were aliens here. There were interdimensional creatures here during that time, and they brought witchcraft and all kinds of sorcery, and they corrupted humanity with it. And I've talked about in detail on this channel over the years about how I believe that the witchcraft they brought was actually technology, that technology and supernatural power are indistinguishable to primitive people. You know, you could go back to caveman days, and a Bic lighter would make you the chief and the god and the priest and everything else because you had the magic of fire at your fingertips. No bow drill needed, right? No sparking of rocks, nothing. You light it, there's a flame that goes out that doesn't go out until you tell it to. And that's magic, right? So these creatures, these interdimensional beings, once before in human history, at least once before, corrupted us with this technology and drew people away from their true nature, their true life as humans. For whatever reason, God has called us to kind of be an indigenous people, a people of peace, a people of communing with nature, being one with the earth. And these creatures come and separate us from the earth. And they use this technology to change human existence, and it has some corrupting agent. Something about the technology is evil in the way that it draws us away from God and into the rat race, right? It draws us into a existence that is against and contrary to our own nature, and it can cause mental illnesses. It can cause people to lose their minds when they're separated from the earth. That's just my hippie, outdoorsy, wilderness living kind of mentality and thinking concerning this technology. This technology is not good for humans. It's destroyed families. It's, honestly, I haven't made a video in a while, and it's because I'm battling technology, right? I'm dealing with trying to recover an email address that got lost. I've got to reroute some financial things because of the loss of the email, and trying to recover accounts. And I'm telling you, if you lose your phone these days, your whole life gets turned upside down. This technology was supposed to make things easier. In so many ways, it's made things more stressful. And not to mention the access to communication around the world at the blink of an eye has been both a grand thing for humanity and also its downfall, if you ask me. And so we have the U.S. government now coming to Christian pastors telling them, prepare your people for proof that these interdimensional beings exist. And this comes on the heels of what can only be described as a very conspiracy heavy indication that some of the people who are insiders on this alien and technology connection, people who knew where the technology came from, knew the price we paid to attain it. They know that we made a deal with the devil, and many of those people who could produce tangible proof have been disappearing or dying mysteriously. The most recent one is what's his name? David Wilcock. His mysterious self unaliving in Colorado brought a lot of this to the attention of people. And, it's my belief that they're kind of erasing their steps before they have full disclosure that these alien, demon, interdimensional creatures not only exist, but have been interacting with us for some time. They don't want people to know that this technology came from them through trade. They want you to believe that this technology was either created by humans somehow. After millennia of existence as indigenous people, we suddenly pull ourselves into the space age, into the world of the internet in the course of one lifetime. And that's utterly preposterous. It's preposterous on the face of it. This technology did not come from human invention, or we would have invented some stuff like this a long time ago. It would have happened not casually, but more incrementally, right? It would happen slower over time instead of this sudden explosion. The sudden explosion of technology is proof that it didn't come from our planet or our people, that this comes from these fallen angels, these Genesis 6 sons of God, who are also mentioned in detail and talked about throughout all of mythology, Greek mythology, the Greek gods, the Indian tales from India, the holy books of indigenous and ancient peoples from around the world include this interaction with the gods with a little g. And so now we are once again facing this interaction. It has come to our doorstep. It's pulled us out of our normal human existence and propelled us into this technology laden world, which looks a lot like magic or witchcraft. And so the disclosure now to the church is to prepare the church for what could be a mass exodus. Once people realize that we are not alone, that, think about this. The arrogance of humanity has always assumed that we are the center of the universe. Early scientists believed the Earth was the center of the planetary and star system, and everything revolved around the Earth. Later on, it became clear that not only was the Earth not flat but round, but it was a ball that was floating with millions of other balls floating around glowing suns in this kaleidoscope of energy and light and planetary movement. And the Earth was just a cog in the wheel, just part of it, not the center of it. And, I think that the church itself was centered around the idea that humans are God's primary concern, and that we are the center of God's existence. That his whole life revolves around us. And I think there's an arrogance to that, but it is what ties Christianity and holds it together. And I think that this will have a devastating effect on people of faith. I think people will leave the church in grand numbers, great numbers. I do believe that a form of alien worship will arise from this. This is what's happened in the past. The Greek gods, who were nothing more than these interdimensional beings interacting with us last time, they were seen as gods, and they were worshipped, and they were sacrifices were brought to them, and they exhibited power over humanity. And you see the same thing happening in the book of Enoch. You see the same thing happening as the Nephilim become cannibalistic in the book of Enoch and other ancient writings, and they begin to prey upon humans and use them as food and treat them like cattle. And these interdimensional beings are going to be seen as gods. And because they're going to be measurable, they're going to be scientifically proven, you're going to see them in the flesh and blood, as it were, face to face. And that is going to be much easier for people to believe in that than an invisible God. And, on this channel, I've taught people to tune out these disembodied spirits that people call demons, and to get those voices of the multiple voices out of their heads so they can tune into the one true voice of God. But I believe that there will be a movement to replace Christianity with this alien worship, this new alien religion, where we see these creatures as our saviors, as the bringers of light, the bringers of this technology, the bringers of this magic. They may actually bring cures to some things that have caused immense human suffering, like cancer and various forms of disease. They may elevate humanity to a next level of comfort, and this technology already has. From air conditioning to automobiles to the internet. The modern world is much more pleasant physically than the ancient world was. We had to work harder. We got sunburned. We got worn out from working so hard. We fought the elements. We fought the storms. We were subject to all kinds of tragedy that we didn't see coming. And this technology has changed human existence into one of leisure, which reminds me of the mouse utopia experiment, where they created the perfect environment for a bunch of mice, and the mice no longer had to compete, and their minds, they lost their minds. They didn't have a purpose anymore. They were removed from their natural habitat to such a degree that it caused a psychosis, and they ended up not reproducing, and the whole group of mice went extinct. in this experiment. And so when you take away the natural ebb and flow of living as an indigenous person on this earth, and I use that term for people that live close to the earth. I'm not talking about any one race. Every race started as an indigenous people. Hunter gatherers, early agricultural life, and with the advent of this technology, this is what's causing everything from mass shooters to the destruction of the family to all kinds of psychosis, mental problems, health problems in humans, because we're behaving in a way that's not natural. That's not how the one God intended us to live. So, this technology has produced mixed fruit, but at the core of it, I believe it's evil. And yes, you can do what I've done and use their own technology against them. But as a whole, I think the world, in so many ways, is in dire trouble. We're in deep trouble, and so what effect will this have on the church? And I really think the church has been in trouble for some time. I've been preaching about the hypocrisy within the church. I've been preaching about the corruption at the highest levels of the ministry for years now. I've been a whistleblower. I've been telling you that these people are telling you how to live one way and then living another. And I don't have a problem with how they're living so much as I have a problem of the double standard. They live under grace and get away with, in some cases, almost literally murder. And you're going to hell because you didn't do things exactly the way they told you to. And this, along with um, along with the lifestyle of humanity getting further and further detached from church life. And the church has been on decline for some time. The very organization that Perry Stone started out in, that my father was a pastor in, at one time was the biggest Pentecostal denomination on earth. And I still think they own more property, second only to potentially the Mormons and the Catholic Church. The Pentecostal church denomination of Church of God is, because they own their property. They own empty churches around the world, but their attendance is declining. And so the church in general has been on the decline while other religions have soared. And atheism and agnostic life and hedonism and so what I'm looking for, the worship of humans themselves, right? Seeing themselves as the only true power in the world, has already diminished the church. This will cause the church to come apart at the seams. And if you remember the early days of the UFO phenomenon, we're talking the late 30s into the 1950s, there was this "you can't handle the truth" kind of attitude. And part of it goes back to a radio play by Orson Welles called The War of the Worlds, that was presented as if it was a live news broadcast. And many people that heard it believed it, and they went into a panic. People were shooting into the air. They believed that the story on the Orson Welles radio show was an actual Martian invasion, and people went into a panic. And I think the government, that might even have been a test, but I think the government decided a long, long time ago that humans couldn't digest the fact that we are not alone. They couldn't digest the existence of these otherworldly creatures. They couldn't balance it with the reality, with their lives, and with what their religions told them. And that they were afraid that society would come apart at the seams if the existence of these creatures were disclosed. So I think you're going to see a huge impact on all forms of religion, especially Christianity and especially evangelical Christianity. And a lot of people are going to leave that reality and that belief system and enter into this new alien worship religion that's going to come out, where we're going to be these things are going to be presented to us as the original creators, as the seeders of humanity. They're going to be seen as the fathers of humans. And they're going to be treated with great reverence, and I think it's a fine line, a short step from there to full-on deity worship of these entities and the technology or magic or unknown knowledge that they bring to the human race, that they bring to humanity, and it's going to have a huge destructive power over the church. And the church will be diminished to a handful of believers who know what these things are. They are the sons of God. They are the individuals who brought about God's flooding of the earth, the fathers of the Nephilim, and the seduction of humanity that occurred at the days of Noah is now being repeated before your very eyes. And this will set the stage to usher in the final battle between good and evil when Christ and the holy angels of God come down to this earth, whether they come on horseback as seen in the book of Revelation, or they come down in spaceships. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to see a battle between the good aliens, the true creators, the true protectors of humanity, and these fallen angels, these Nephilim's parents, right? These the purveyors of this technology and the changers of our society that have interfered here are going to be put in place, and potentially you will see a massive earth reset and a return to the Garden of Eden, a return to a simpler life, a simpler way of living, one that is more in line with the true nature of the human spirit. And whether this happens in New Jerusalem or this happens, as some cults believe, where you get your own planet, right, or you get to be Adam and Eve on in a new place, I don't know how it's going to go down. But talk about a great reset. These alien entities, these interdimensional beings, are making themselves known now. And they are very concerned, the powers that be are very concerned the effect it's going to have on our economy, on our institutions like the church, on our belief systems. And oddly, the Bank of England just issued a warning to its people to prepare for economic collapse in the event of disclosure. I'm not sure. I'm still chewing on how this could affect the economy. But what if money was seen as unnecessary, and a move to a digital economy, potentially a more communist, totalitarian type of existence, a one world government? Ronald Reagan was famously quoted as saying, "What if aliens came down from another planet and proposed a threat to humanity? Would nation lines dissolve overnight? Would we join together as one voice to fight the outside force, the alien invasion force? Would we put our differences aside and become one human race?" And I think that's the plan. That's the intent. And so this could have a devastating effect on the way economies work around the world, a devastating effect on all religions, Christianity especially. But what will arise from this disclosure, if you ask me, is a small group of Christians, potentially a small group of Muslims, potentially a small group from every religion who says, don't believe these alien creatures. They're demons. They're not who they say they are. They're not here for our best good, and their intention is to enslave humanity. That's a belief that I actually share. I don't believe they're the good guys, but I tell you what, Sunday's on the way, as they used to say in the black church growing up. Sunday is on the way. You might be broke. You might be heartbroken. Monday might be killing you. Tuesday's not much better. Wednesday's even worse. But on Sunday, everything turns around. It's a beginning of a new day. So I believe as bad as things are going to get, the proof is in the pudding. The cavalry or the Calvary is on the way. Christ and his angels are on the way. This will get worse before it gets better, but it will bring about the final battle and the final decision. And this earth will be destroyed and rebuilt in a day, just as it was said in the scriptures. Tell me what you think in the comments section. Do you believe it's all fake? Do you believe these alien creatures are actually interdimensional? Do you think they're demons, or do you think we've just opened up a gateway to another dimension and invited some strangers over for dinner? Is this what's good for humanity? Are these things real? Is this a psyop to distract you from the Jeffrey Epstein files and the war in Iran? Hey, everybody's got an opinion. This is a free space to give us yours. Tell me what you think in the comments section. And now, before I go, though, I would like to talk to you about what's going on with me. So this channel has been my sole support for about 5 years now. And recently, the channel's been around for nearly 9 years. And but the past 5 years, it's been my sole support. The first 3 years, I didn't take any money from the channel except through advertisement. And later on, I stopped monetizing my videos and relied completely on the viewers to support me. And you all have been doing a wonderful job. Yes, I've had to live below the poverty level, right, to do what I love and to keep this channel going and to keep the research happening and to keep me in the saddle here. But in just this year, the support has dropped off tremendously to the point where I'm not being able to make the basic things of being, I'm worried about eating. I'm worried about keeping the lights on. I'm selling things. I've sold 3 guns and a keyboard, and that's just, I'm going to have to keep selling things. I may have to sell a vehicle. I may have to sell some of my land. Like if I don't do something, and I've been hoping it was going to turn around. And thanks to all of you who have kept me alive this year, because the few of you that are supporting me, I'm finding ways to live on it, right? But, I did some research on YouTube channels, and the average lifespan of a YouTube channel is 7 years. And it could just be that, this thing has played itself out. But I'm never going to quit because I love what I do. And I love talking to y'all. And I feel like many of you are like family to me. So the announcement is I have found employment. Good news and bad news. The good news, I found a very good contracting job doing some truck driving for an RV retailer. So transporting their big fancy fifth wheels and whatnot across the country. And I partnered with some people that are already doing this that also happen to be my best friends, and I trust them very much. And but that truck doesn't come available for me until sometime in June. So my back is against the wall. Please continue supporting the channel. I have been producing less videos because I'm having to really scramble to try to keep my head above water, and literally to stay fed and the lights on is a struggle. So any help you can give through the links in the description below, to Cash App, to PayPal, and to my post office box, are going to make the difference between me selling everything I own to get to my first paycheck in June. But that's the reason I haven't been making a lot of videos, is because I'm busy scrambling trying to survive. So the more you give, the more likely you are to get more videos. I will give you this promise: I'm not going to entirely quit the channel. I'm going to keep making videos. And the cool thing about the job is I can make videos on this job while driving. I can put my camera right up on the dash, hit record, and just drive the truck while I'm talking to y'all. I can make videos from exotic locations, since I am going to get to see most of the United States over this summer, or so I've been told. And I'm in the training process right now to get all the certifications I need to make this job happen for me, and the positions being held for me, Lord willing, in the creek don't rise. And I've never been this broke. I've been a bit terrified, to tell you the truth. But I know when God closes a door, He opens a window. So I've been praying to have more money, just to not live on such a shoestring budget. It would be nice to go visit some places, or to travel, or to just, buy some new clothes. Like I haven't had anything. I haven't been able to buy anything for myself in so long. And it's the price I pay for getting to keep the channel and do what I love. But now I'm going to try to do both. I'm going to try to make some money for myself, and I'm going to try to keep the channel alive and kicking as well. But your support over the next month is crucial. Without it, I don't know that I'll make it. I don't know that I'll be able to pay for the licensing fees and the things that I have to pay for to get my position in that company and make this travel happen. It's interesting, though, being as I'll be traveling, I might get to meet some of you. Wouldn't that be cool? To have some Coffee Talk Lives like we talked about last year. Last summer I talked about a spring and summer tour, and now here I am traveling the country over this summer. So and into the fall for sure. And so I hope and pray that I get a chance to meet some of you, and maybe we'll do some of these coffee talk lives, in a town near you. So links in the description below. Please help out with anything you can helps. So much gratefulness for all of you who have continued to support me through these difficult times. And I just need one more push to get into the position where maybe I won't have to worry about money for the first time in 10 years. So wouldn't that be awesome? All right. So tell me what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to support the channel, and we'll see you next time from my cabin down by the creek. Coming to a town near you soon, probably.